Today is the day we have all been waiting for, have been excited about, and preparing for. Today is the day where we will work on our first AI agent. Before we get into today's video, I just wanted to do a quick recap on the things that we have covered so far. We went through how AI marketing is beyond prompting, that there is a big difference between LLMs and the type of prompts we send it, the text in, text out kind of a thing, and how AI agents or agentic workflows can transform the way that you approach marketing. Why LLMs are great for some things but not others. For example, doing things for you, taking actions on your behalf. That is a capability of any agentic workflow, not LLM and prompting. Similarly, we also touched a little on CRUD frameworks, which is your create, read, update, and delete, and how it impacts any architecture, a software architecture where you have a front end and a back end. Front end like an app or a web interface where you take actions, and then CRUD operations allow you to do these things into the database, like fetch information from the database, create new records in the database, update the records, or delete any records. Similarly, for marketeers, we have a different approach to CRUD, which is a workflow is agentic workflow if the agent can perform at least a few of these tasks, which is either create something for you and post it directly. For example, this example that we have, create new social media post and post directly, read campaign performance from analytics, update lead scores, revise ad copy, or delete product info. After that, we went through a few technical concepts, but from marketeers' point of view. For example, what APIs are and why they matter, what tokens are and how they cost you money, where to find API keys inside platforms like OpenAI, Perplexity, and Apify, why your prompts might be falling flat, and how to improve those. Then the last thing that we talked about, the technical things, one of the technical things that we talked about is also setting temperature, the output rules, and controlling the creativity or the randomness of any prompt that you use to instruct an AI. So that's what we did in the last couple of sessions. Moving on, in today's session, what we will do is that we will go through setting up our own first AI workflow. A few things that we have to take care of before we get into our first simple chat workflow. We need to find a cheap domain, say Namecheap or GoDaddy or wherever, or you can just skip this step if you already own a domain. So if you have a website, you can skip this because we can host our workflows there on your website. So once this is done, the second thing that we will do is find a cheap virtual server, because we need to put our data somewhere, and for that we need a server like DigitalOcean or Hostinger or anything else that you want to do. And we will cover other ways to deploy your agents apart from these options, but for this video we will stick to self-hosted virtual servers. Once it's done, we will install N8N, which will be the backbone of all of our workflows, the agentic workflows. So we will install N8N on the virtual server that we register on. We will point this server to the domain name. So for example, if we have a server, virtual server space, a droplet that we buy from DigitalOcean, we need to point it to the IP address that we get from the domain name. I'll explain it to you when we go through it. It won't be that complicated. All you have to do is just follow whatever I'm doing. And once that's done, we then have to register and log it, because there is a good chance everything goes smoothly and we should be able to log in into the interface that we have just created, the platform that we have just installed on our domain. And finally, we will build our first simple chat-based workflow. So today we will not do anything complicated when it comes to building the AI agent, but it's more to test that if everything is working smoothly. So first thing first, we need to figure out how to buy a domain. it totally depends on you if you want to buy some fancy name, because it might be expensive, or if you just want to use it for your workflows to set up AI agents into your workflow, install N8N. I mean, you can just go with the cheapest option out there. You don't have to worry about the domain name, but still you need to buy the domain first. If you already have a domain, you can skip this step, because we will jump on to how to point your domain or point the virtual server to your domain in the next step. There are many ways you can approach this, and everyone will have their own opinion, but I will show you the things that I did to get my first AI agent going. If you research a bit more, there will be other options, maybe more efficient options, maybe more comfortable options to you, but this is the way that I want to do things. I did things. So first is to find that domain. Usually my preference in terms of a registrar or a domain name service is to go to Namecheap. So let's go there. Namecheap is where you buy domains, and I find it really cheap, especially the renewals, because the first year costs usually are cheaper everywhere, but as soon as you get into the renewals, I personally have found that Namecheap is a much better options for me. So that's just my preference. So when it comes to finding a domain, like I said, for me, if I'm not hosting it on a website which I want to use for SEO purpose, I'll just go with the cheapest version. If you want to buy a website which is also going to serve the SEO needs, or that you want to use for other work, you can buy a slightly more expensive one, but more relevant to the work that you do. So let's look at some options here. For example, if I start with automation automation guy, right? You can, let's see, what are my options here? Automation guy, come on. Okay, so automationguy.engineering is pretty expensive. It maybe not, but for this demo purpose I still think it's very expensive. .com will be like 7,760. No, I'm looking for something which is less than $1. I don't want to spend a lot of money. For example, this one, this should do. automationguy.store. This should work, or automationguy.online. automationguy.site. This is also 0.98. Yeah, I mean, if it's just for hosting your AI agents, your workflows, then any of these options are fine. You can search a bit more and see if there are other options. Automata. Is it Automata or Automata? I would call it Automata. Yeah, Automata. Yeah. Okay, so automata.inc.fit. Okay, no, fit doesn't make sense. So maybe that as well. No, Automata is not going to. AutoGator. Let's see. AutoGator.me. Blah 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 blah. AutoGator.info. Yeah, I mean, yeah, something like this one, because it's slightly more relevant to what we are trying to do here, and also it's got at least a portion of the keywords that we want. Online is also okay. So yeah, something like this. You just buy it and you add to a cart. Checkout. Why is it $3? Oh, it's because okay, you buy it for 3 years probably, that's why. View item. Okay, why is it $3? I don't get it. I don't know. I don't have time to go through all of that. Yeah, okay. It will cost you around this much, maybe a bit more, but yeah, a few dollars here and there. Yeah, you can use it for some learning curve, to cover that learning curve, or you can try finding some other even cheaper options. So yeah, once you do this, just do a clean checkout and then you should be ready to go, at least with the domain name. I skipped the whole buying process because I already have a domain. Yeah, I'm not going to buy another one. I just wanted to show you how it's done. So once you do that, you will reach here somewhere. It's called the dashboard. So this is one of the proxies that I have for my own company, and yeah, I just bought it recently. So we'll get back to here. So step 1 of, let me just delete all these things so that we know what we are tracking and where we are at. So yeah, step 1 is done. Finding a cheap domain. It looks ugly. Check. Yes. So find a cheap domain. That's all done. Skip, you already have a domain. So because if you have a domain, you will see something like this. Even if you buy it from, say, GoDaddy or Hostinger or anywhere else, yeah, there will be a dashboard where you will get an option to manage the DNS or the domain. Yeah, so this is step 1. We done with that. Now for the cheap virtual server, there are 2 options. Option number 1 is your DigitalOcean, and option number 2 will be Hostinger. It's totally up to you which one you want to use, because they are very similar priced. There is not much difference between the two. So yeah, you can use either of them. For me, I'll tell you why I prefer DigitalOcean. It's because of the marketplace that it has, because you can just do a one-click install if you use a DigitalOcean server. You don't have to follow a lot of steps. I believe Hostinger also has something similar where you can do a one-click. So if you want to know what to search for, just go to Google and then search for N8N marketplace, because it's a marketplace app where you can just install the droplet by clicking it once. So this is the one. You can see DigitalOcean marketplace N8N, and once you click on it, come on. Yeah, so this is the page that will open, which is, yeah, read through it if you want to learn a bit more about how exactly it works, or don't, just follow whatever I'm doing and you'll be fine as well. So yeah, you get an N8N license, use license, by installing it using the marketplace provided by DigitalOcean. And to use that, you just click on create N8N droplet. You'll get to register there. You register simply, and once you register, create a project and all the folders and stuff. It's very straightforward. What you do is, wherever you are located, pick a data center next to you, the closest one that you can find, because it will be the difference will not be huge, but still there will be some difference in the speed and the response time and everything. So click one, then after that leave everything as it is, don't touch anything else. You keep on moving. Marketplace, it is already showing that it has selected N8N 1.102.3 on Ubuntu. Okay, I think I have 1.101. I need to update my instance, but this is fine, right? So anyway, don't touch anything. You will get to install everything. When it comes to the CEO, to the CPU, go with the basic one. I mean, if you want to have a much better response rate and everything, you can, and if you have extra money, you can do that. I don't, so I don't use those advanced versions. Even here in the CPU options in the within basic, it will give you the premium AMD recommended version, but what I will tell you, which we should do a lot of things that you want to do with N8N, is just go with the regular and the cheapest one, 6 per month. You can always upgrade it later on if you are performing a lot of complex tasks, multiple agents running at the same time, because you get 1 GB CPU plus 25 GB disk. And 1000 GB, almost 1 terabyte of data transfer. I got stuck once when I was trying to update the whole thing, my instance in N8N, so I had to upgrade myself. But for you, it's up to you. If you are not getting into something very complex, or if you're not running multiple agents at once, this should do the $6 per month. After that, backups, up to you. Again, I do it manually, but if you want to do it, you can do it automatically as well with a little bit of money. Then I use password. You can also use your SSH key. Password 1 uppercase. I'm not giving it a password because I'm not installing anything, but I will just show you. Alright, once you're done with your password, so just press on create droplet, and in a few seconds I think should be okay. It should be good to go. And once the whole process is done, you will see a dashboard like this, something similar to this one. On the left hand side, you will see your project name. I created my first project, did not change it, and the droplet plus the IP address, get started, and all those things. The thing is that now here what you have to do is you need to get this IP address 139.59 or ... whatever it is that you get. You need to copy it. All right, so if you click on this copy, it's just copied, and that's where you need to go back to your the domain name provider, name cheap in this case, because now we are moving to step 3. So step 2 is done. You have a cheap virtual server for $6 a month, and then the third step would be to install N8. So we are done with the third step as well, which is install N8N on the virtual server. So 3 steps are done. Now the fourth one is point or connect N8N droplet to the domain you bought, and we just copied the IP address, right? So once we copy the IP address, what we have to do is we go back here to Namecheap, press this manage button, we wait, after that we will see these 4 options: domain, products, sharing and transfer, advanced DNS. You click on advanced DNS, wait, and once you click on advanced DNS, what you do is you go down, add a new record, and what you need to add is an A record. There are other types of records as well. You can go and research. We are not covering those in this video, but what we need is an A record. Host is, so for example, if you bought a website called AutoGator. So if you bought a website called AutoGator, the host will be the subdomain name. So we call it N8N, and we paste the IP address here, the one that we received from the droplet we just installed. Once we do that, we click on save changes. What will happen is that it will point the server, the IP that we just used to host N8N, it will point it to our domain. So what happens is that you have a domain called autogator.online, and now because you added a record called N8N in front of the IP address, your N8N instance will run on the URL called n8n.autogator.online, right? So the A name is the subdomain name that you get, and that subdomain name gets linked to the DigitalOcean's IP. If you are confused, don't bother, you can go and research, but it's nothing that you should be worried about. You just do it, you just follow whatever I am doing, or if you have time, go reach out to ChatGPT or Gemini and ask it to explain a little bit more. Maybe I'll do a video on that one, but not right now. You just have to follow what I'm doing. So that was the 4th step we just completed, which is adding the A name N8N dot whatever the IP address is to connect your droplet with your website, your domain name, right? So now what will happen is you wait for 10 to 20 minutes. In 99% of the cases, I believe that it does not take more than 15-20 minutes, sometimes even less, 5 minutes in my case. In 99% of the time, it will be not more than 15-20 minutes, and the DNS will propagate and your URL will be live. But it can take up to 24 hours as well in some instances. So if in case it's not working, you just refresh and see. But even if it's not working after half an hour or so, you can keep refreshing after that, but it should be working after 24 hours or within that first 24 hours. So as soon as you refresh and you see that the domain that you just created, the subdomain that you just created, n8n.autogator.online, it should work and it will look like this. So yeah, as you can see, this is the subdomain that I was using for my own automation, personal automation, not the client automations. And yeah, once you are done with everything and the DNS has propagated properly, you should be able to see the login screen. And after that, you just register, create your own two-factor authentication keys and everything, and after you're done with that, you should be able to just sign in to your automation platform powered by N8N. So what happens after that? So after logging in, you will see something which is not similar to this one, but you will see a create workflow option, because you will not have any other workflows. You are starting from scratch. And there is a lot of workflows that I've already built, so that's why I'm seeing all of my workflows. But yeah, I'm hoping that you will also have hundreds of workflows there, sitting there live, working perfectly fine. Yeah, so I rarely use this particular account because it's just for my testing purposes, and also whenever I do webinars or educate someone on setting up their own automations. So there's not a lot of activity there. So now, since we are here, we press on create workflow, and this is what you will see, which is to add your first step. So what happens? So what happens is that there are multiple things that we will learn as we move on with different aspects of N8N. How do we create nodes, triggers, events, how do we connect them? Then once we are done with connecting everything, it's called a workflow. In this case, a step is like you are giving it instruction. This is the first thing that you do, this is the second thing that you do, this is the third thing that you do, and then there are conditions that if this happens, then go there, if that happens, go there, right? So but for every single workflow, you need to have a trigger, that what makes an agent execute, because it needs to get that instruction from somewhere. It could be time based, that at any point of time that let's say I have set up a schedule for 7 a.m. every morning, then that's the trigger. 7 a.m. will be the trigger. Or I can have a trigger which is based on a text message from my WhatsApp, Telegram. That could be the trigger, that as soon as you receive a message, you trigger the whole workflow. Gmail trigger could be there, or an activity inside a database, say Google Sheet as a simple database. If any row changes, any cell is updated, it can get triggered there as well. So there are multiple triggers in here that we can use, but for this training purpose, we will stick to simple triggers, because right now it's just to test if everything is working, and we are not getting into the complexities. We are not building any complex agents right now, or the workflows right now. So to add the first step, like I said, the trigger could be a chat. You see the chat trigger here, you click here. So what happens is that if I click on this one, open chat, I say hi, you see it says node executed successfully, but nothing happened. You said hi, and it created a session ID, action send message, and input was high, but nothing happened. So what we have to do here is add a mechanism to do something with that high message. So this is where we need to add our first AI agent. Let's just type AI agent here. Back. Yeah. AI agent. So this agent is going to process that high for me, that whatever it's supposed to do. But before we do that, we need to add a chat model, because by itself AI agent is nothing. It's just a system. Think about as an interface which has multiple things connected to it, a switchboard for example. So it needs a chat model, it needs optional, but it can need some memory so that it remembers what's happening, and then you can give it some tools to do things on your behalf. To keep it simple, let's just add one chat model, and as soon as you click on the plus button, this language models option opens and you see all the options here. So we'll go with OpenAI chat model. If you remember from my last video, I told you how to get access to the APIs, the API keys. If you haven't, you can go watch that video again, and if not, it's fine. We just do it right now. So we click on OpenAI. The thing is that I've already connected my OpenAI account here, but if you have to create a new credential, you just have to insert the API key that we created in the last video. So yeah, please go ahead, visit my last video and around the tokens, LLMs and context windows. I'll also maybe drop a link here in the description. So yeah, once you're done with that, bring the API key here, paste it here and click on save. That's all you have to do, nothing else. Okay, it's very simple. Go open the OpenAI platform, go to the settings, go to the API keys, generate one, copy it and paste it here, and then you press save. After that, it will look something like this: your credentials, OpenAI account, and then model. You remember in the last video we also discussed a little bit on the models, that some are more expensive than the others, some are cheaper for this purpose. So what I've realized is that 3.5 turbo, GPT 3.5 turbo is the most versatile. 4.1 mini is good when you need a proper response or you need something more relevant than ChatGPT 3.5 turbo, because if you remember, it has a bigger context window. It remembers things from way past as compared to 3.5 turbo. So yeah, for testing purpose, I'll just use 3.5 turbo, and for actual work, try at least 4.1. So yeah, we have selected 3.5 turbo. If you remember, we were talking about the temperatures and everything. You can put it there, top P, but for this small setup, a small example that I'm giving you, you just leave it blank as it is. So yeah, now your AI agent has OpenAI as the chat model connected at the back end. So what will happen if I say hi this time? Let's say hi. Yes, if you can see, hello, how can I assist you today? Human said hi. Output, hello, how can I assist you today? Earlier it was nothing, there was no response, but this time it was the OpenAI chat model. If you click on it, the output, the whole structure you can see here, it responded here. And also you can see the number of tokens it used. It used 9 completion tokens, 8 prompt tokens, and the total tokens, that's how they were 17. So keep an eye on this one as well if you want to understand more about how tokens are utilized. So that was about the AI agent just using a chat model to respond to your messages. But there are other things we also need to do is and it will be on use cases, like on point to point you will need to use this particular thing called memory, but in a lot of cases you may not need it. But the next thing is to add that simple memory so that it can remember what you are talking about. I'll start with an example, a very simple one. Like for example, in the chat message it said, "Hi, hello, how can I assist you today?" I said, "My name is Sudhansh and I am a digital marketer." All right, I told it there, that particular thing, that small thing, and the response was, if you click it again, the AI agent, it's on the bottom left corner as well, but if you double click on the AI agent, you can see that, "Nice to meet you, Sudhansh." Just look at the logs. "My name is Sudhansh and I'm a digital marketer." Output, "Nice to meet you, Sudhansh. What aspect of digital marketing do you specialize in?" Seems good, right? But will it remember me in the next message? So I ask it again, "What is my name and what is my profession?" Let me ask it. Now the fun begins. Logs. I asked it, "What is my name and what is my profession?" Output, "I do not have access to any personal information unless you provide it to me in the course of your conversation. Please feel free to share your name and profession with me directly." It does not remember that I just told it what my name and my profession is. So that's where the memory comes into play. You click on this plus symbol right beneath this memory, and once we go into more advanced workflows, we will explore the third-party databases, but right now we are just using a simple memory. Simple memory is like whatever that comes from the chat, it will remember it. And what's the context window? It's 5. So last 5 chats it will remember. You can make it 10 as well, or you can make it 2 as well. 5 is decent enough because it will remember the last 5 things that I told it, or the last 5 conversations that happened. So right now it has a simple memory as well. Let's try this again. "Hi, my name is Sudhansh. I am a digital marketer." You see, it stored something in the simple memory. All right. So let's click and see what were the logs. See, now everything is getting stored in simple memory. Action. Input. The input was, "Hi, my name is Sudhansh and I am a digital marketer." So now OpenAI received this message. It said, "Hello Sudhansh, nice to meet you. How can I assist you with your digital marketing needs today?" Okay, so this saved this context. It saved these 2 things that the user said. They mentioned their name and their profession, and OpenAI just responded with it. It just saved both of these things. So now I can ask it again. "Hi, what is my name?" There is no need to send "hi" again. I'm not that formal. "Hello, my name is Vansh." Okay, what is my name and my profession? Let's see. Will you remember? Your name is Sudhansh and you are a digital marketer. It's alive. In any case, so I hope you understood the point of this simple memory, because it will remember the last 5 things that happened in the conversation. So again, if you're building a chatbot or a very conversational workflow, then I think it's always good to add this simple memory. The only thing is it's a short-term memory, so it will not recall anything which is not happening in the session. So as soon as you end the session and a new session starts, it will not remember that. For that, you need to add a long-term memory. That again for more advanced things. Now the third thing that we will do here is the tools, because right now it can just talk, but it cannot take any actions on your behalf. It cannot do things that we want AI agent to do. Among the CRUD operations we were talking about, it can read now, right? It can update. If I tell it my name is not Sudhansh, something else, it will update that as well. Delete, not possible because there's no memory as such where it will delete things or any task like that. But to take actions, to create something, you need to give it a tool. And a very simple tool would be, for example, Wikipedia. I'm giving it the power of Wikipedia. Thou shall always use Wikipedia. Alright, so let me ask it, what do you know about Apple, the iPhone manufacturer? And I press go. It's accessing Wikipedia because I give it access to Wikipedia. So anything that's there in Wikipedia, now it can tell you about that. Let's look at it. The output. Apple Inc. is an American multinational corporation and technology company headquartered in Cupertino, California, in Silicon Valley. Alright, so a lot of things, whatever information there was in Wikipedia, it just fetched that information. Now, so there is a lot of things which can be done using tools, because there's a hell lot of things. For example, we can connect it to say a database. You can ask it to do something in Airtable, Airtop. It's an agentic browser, virtual browser, Asana. It can access an Asana, and Bitly, for example, calculator. You can give it a calculator as well, so that it can start calculating things for you. Then you have other things like, I'm just going through the most common things so that most of you know what I'm talking about. Date and time, because it does not remember what the date and time is. You need to give it today means this. It fetches the information from date and time tool. Interesting. DHL. So if you are constantly tracking your packages or shipping things, DHL, you can connect that. Discord, Dropbox. So yeah, anyway, you go through it. Once you have access to this platform, what I will request is that play around, see whatever that you can do with these things, be it Gmail, Google Ads, Google Analytics, more advanced, but it's always good to do a walkthrough on your own. All right, so what we did here today was, first we found a cheap domain name, a virtual server. We installed N8N on the virtual server, then pointed that N8N droplet to the domain we bought here. Then we registered and then logged in to the new subdomain that we just deployed, and then after that we tested our first simple chat workflow. So this is just the beginning of things. You know how we started with just understanding the difference between your regular LLMs and how people confuse prompting with all that AI in marketing has to offer. Then we also learned about a key differentiator between your LLMs prompting and AI agents, which is CRUD, because that's my definition. But if you call a workflow agent driven or agentic workflow, then it has to perform at least a few of the CRUD's tasks. So that was that. And then after that we also learned a bit about how APIs are used, how to be careful about using tokens, how to access these APIs and tokens, how to give proper prompts, set the rules, the context and the roles, and the temperature, the system randomness, and things like that. So once we were done all of that today, in today's session, we actually managed, not just managed, we actually did that. We set up our own first AI workflow. It was very simple, very basic workflow that we were talking about, because I just wanted you to be comfortable with setting up your own workflows. Moving on, we will getting a bit more technical about things. Don't be afraid. By technical, I do not mean we will be doing any coding. It is still very, very logic driven. Like I said, we are marketeers, we are storytellers. So we will focus only on that, telling the stories, fixing the logics, connecting the dots, and that's all we need to figure out how can we get the best outcome from any workflow that we create. So if you, like I have said earlier as well, if there is anything, any task, a recurring task that you do that you think that should be automated using AI, let me know in the comments, and hopefully in the next few sessions we will cover one of those, because the next session will be all about setting up your own complex workflow. Not that complex, but at least more complex than what we did today, and something which you can start using in your day-to-day life. So if you like it, please subscribe, follow me for more videos, and like I keep saying, please provide feedback, because feedback is how we improve. Feedback is how we learn what to do better the next time. So yeah, see you in our next video. Cheers.